Meet us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. Hey guys, this is Phil from undercage.com, and this is LG Spirit. Okay, so let's start with the design. It's got a receiver on the top, 1 megapixel front-facing camera, which is kind of weak considering that's not a lot of people take a selfie with their phones. There's a 4.7 inches of 720p display, LG logo, and nothing to the left nor right until you get to the top where you get an earphone jack with the secondary microphone and the micro USB port on the bottom, and along with the microphone. On the back, you got an 8 megapixel camera, volume rocker, power key, and the LED flash. The Sakura logo, speaker grills, and the LG logo. The back design cover is actually pretty sleek. It's got a very cute design, and it resembles that of the LG G4. It's got the same curved design language with the flat screen, and the battery cover is removable, of course. That gives you the replaceable 2100 mAh battery along with the micro SIM card slot and the micro SD card slot. And that's pretty much it with the exterior of the LG Spirit. It's a pretty compact phone. It's a 4.7 inches. Considering how big a phone nowadays are, this is very compact and easy to fit in your hands. And the real problem, begins with the inside. So you can unlock the screen, ignore that error message, and the actual software, the LG UI, is pretty much the same, except for the fact that it's very, very slow. I was actually quite surprised to see that this was this slow, since it has a Snapdragon 410 quad-core processor along with the gigabyte of RAM and 8 GB of storage. It shouldn't be slow because we've been using a Snapdragon 200 devices, 400, and 410 devices, and they nowadays run just as fine as the higher end devices if you don't play hardcore games or any apps that have heavy loads on the CPU. But this LG Spirit was a very different one than we thought. So you go to settings, and every app that you will launch is going to take up just about that much of the time or lag, if you will call it like that, to launch and to be shown in front of you. And it's got an Android 4.0. It's got, to be precise, it's got a 5.0.2 and kernel version of a 3.10. And as the status, the one problem that we figured was the storage. It comes with the 8 GB of internal storage, and at the very first beginning, you'll be left with about a little more than a 3 GB of storage. You will very much want to expand that by installing a micro SD card slot, because the default system already takes up 4.59 GB by default. So your usable storage will be a lot less than that. And most of the times, RAM, 1 GB of RAM, has a lot of problems, so you'll be seeing this home delays. I haven't really used up the term home delay since 2012, but now this thing has a home delay where you launch a bit of an app. I had almost zero apps. No, let's correct that. I had exactly zero apps running on the background. I went to the settings, came back home, and there's a home delay. So that's what kind of software optimization you will see with the LG Spirit. And another problem that I found was the screen. The screen is not very bright, which is not what we expect from the cheaper budget devices, since this is a very cheap device. This is retailing at 350 bucks, around that, 199 euros, around that kind of price range. So it's not exactly utterly cheap, but it's not expensive. So I get that the screen is not the brightest. It doesn't have the lighting sensor. It doesn't have the ambient sensor, so you'll have to be controlling this back and forth when you go to the dimmer places or the brighter places. But the real problem is that this guy generates heat like crazy. So once you start using internet for, say, about 20 minutes, it will turn down the brightness automatically, and it wouldn't let you go up to 100% because the phone is too hot. So you'll have to get there a lot, time to time. And another problem is I really have to deal with the speed. This Moto E is a 3G version, so naturally it's got a Snapdragon 200 quad-core processor. So Snapdragon 200 is, of course, a degree lower than the Snapdragon 410, and it's a lot older technology than the Snapdragon 410. But when we go to the basic apps, even the basic apps compared with the Snapdragon 200 compared to Snapdragon 410, we can see that Snapdragon 410 is usually slower to launch the apps than the Snapdragon 200. Of course, we have killed all the cache data and we don't have any background apps running or cache. Just about everything that you run is going to be slower than the Snapdragon 200. So let's say that the functions that we use a lot, like say camera. So we're going to launch a camera over here, and Moto E already has a screen, while Snapdragon 410 LG Spirit takes a lot longer time than the Moto E to show the screen. Now that we are with the battery has a 2100 milliamps of battery capacity, and considering that it's got a considerably smaller screen size and a Snapdragon 410, which is supposed to be very power efficient, we think that it's going to last long. But the battery, unfortunately, of course, without any power saving technologies turned on, gets about screen on time of 2 hours or 2 hours and a half, which is terrible at this battery capacity and in the year of 2015. This is not a 2011 with Galaxy Nexus, was it 2012? This is not a Galaxy Nexus. This is 2015, and this is a considerably mid-range device that's supposed to have a decent battery life, when it has a lot shorter battery life than any other phones. Of course, the sound is pretty fine. Sound is okay whether you listen to music with the earphones or the speaker, it sounds fine. But what's the point if you cannot turn up the brightness because the phone gets too hot and the battery is terrible? And of course, the call quality, as LG usually are, is simply terrible. So simply put, this got a lot of problems. This often lost signals. This generates heat, is a lot slower than most of the comparisons, even compared to Snapdragon 200 is slower. So there's just completely zero reason that you'll want this, except for this. It's got a very clean, sleek design for its prices. But aside from that, in the inside, don't judge the book by its cover. Don't judge your phone by its exterior design. The interior is terrible, and this is probably the worst phone you will ever see in the year 2015 and probably ever in the future. So you have zero reason to get this over any other phone, and even counting for this phone itself, this is simply put a terrible phone in the market, and there is zero reason that you should get it. So that was LG Spirit, and I hope nobody makes a mistake like this, and stay tuned. We'll get back with you in another review.